Welcome to Creepy and Geeky. I'm your host, Robert, and on today's episode, I'm talking to Cat Voleur about M. Night Shyamalan's Old. But first, Donna and I are talking about all the newest stuff. How's it going, Donna?
Hey Robert, it's going pretty well. I actually like old, so I can't wait to
Me
hear the
too.
conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a good conversation, a lot of fun. But yeah, I didn't get to go see a new movie this week.
What? Are you
I
kidding
know.
me?
No, I was gonna try to, but we went on a little family vacation, and then when we got back, things were just a little chaotic at first, and I haven't been able to go.
Oh,
This week
okay.
has been busy for Katrina, so and usually I go with her. So because she's had work, and then she's had two hockey games this weekend,
hmm
and and she's got work again tomorrow, and so it's a lot. But yeah, we were maybe gonna go see The Strangers Chapter 2. I think that was the only thing that really jumped out that was out this week. Um, but we didn't end up going and seeing that yet. And I'm hearing a lot of very mixed things about it. Um, but I did catch up on some TV and stuff.
Oh, okay.
I didn't watch any movies, but I caught up on Alien Earth, and that's over. We'll see if that gets picked up again. Um, and I think it's a good show. I think it spun its wheels a lot. Like they didn't have enough story to tell, so it was like they just kept, I don't know, playing out what little they had. But overall, I think it was still well done, visually very like stunning. Um,
I think
yeah.
I have the opposite reaction. I feel like he intentionally strung us out because he knew
Sure.
that he was going to do, a few more seasons. And these characters and these actors were so good. I definitely can't see them not having another season of this.
Yeah.
Just
No.
because obviously the way it ended. But yeah,
Yeah.
I like the world building stuff. I like a lot of the creatures. I'm glad we get to see other alien,
Yes. Yeah.
type of um creatures to look
Other
out
other
for and
hostile
see.
creatures. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're terrible. They
No,
were
and
they were
the funny thing is that the xenomorph actually seemed to take a big back seat
oh yeah.
to a lot of the other creatures in this. And so I did find that interesting. I'm not saying it's a terrible show or anything like that. There's
hmm
just moments where I was just like, all right, let's move on. Let's get to something else. Let's keep going. And so I was just like, all right, let's it wasn't a bad show. I watched it,
hmm
every week and everything. So it just, I got that done. I watched the latest episode of Peacemaker. That's a fun show. If you're not watching that one, you need to get caught up and
Yeah,
watching
I
that
need to get
one.
caught
So
up. It's just a matter of getting everybody on board so we can all get caught up together.
yeah.
Because I've already had a couple of things spoiled for me, especially this
Oh,
recent episode. Then
yes.
I'm just like, oh, great. I didn't want to know that, but
Yeah.
here we are. Um, and I'm so
Yeah.
excited to get to October because now, we're getting ready to get to back to Derry. I get welcome to
Yeah.
Derry, and we get to see all of the stuff going on with. I'm so excited for October. You guys have no idea. Not that I don't watch horror year round, but October just
Right.
it makes it so much better for me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And then
so
I
on the
caught a
side, oh,
oh
go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say I caught up. I got into a new show that just popped up this last week. That's it's on FX, but I watched it on Disney Plus. But it's called The Lowdown.
Oh,
Um,
how was that? It looks fun.
so Ethan Hawke and Keith David are in it. Plus a gaggle of other people are in it. Kyle MacLachlan's in it. Gene Triplehorn. Lots of good people are in it.
hmm
But it's a neo noir crime fiction kind of thing, which is right up my alley. Um, and so that's the other thing I geek out about it. Like I don't know how much I've talked about it on here, but like I know I have a few times. But yeah, comic books, horror, crime fiction. That's all my meat and potatoes right there.
hmm
Um, but it's it's really good. I thought it was fantastic. Just Ethan Hawke. I've never cared for Ethan Hawke. He's never been that interesting of an actor for me. But lately he's been doing some interesting things that have like grabbed my attention. And of
Hmm.
course, him he played the bad guy in Moon Knight. He's um the villain of the Black Phone movies, which is fantastic. And in this, he's just kind of like a um he's a what he considers himself a truth historian of Tulsa. And so this is all set in Tulsa, Oklahoma. This is created by the same guy that I think created Reservation Dogs um, on FX. And so it's set in Tulsa. It's all about the city and stuff like that. And so he gets wrapped up in this whole thing. And there's neo-Nazis, there's shady business people, and he's just trying to tell the story. And um, he's just basically kind of takes over that private investigator style
Hmm.
role of a story, and he's just getting the shit beat out of him. It's
He seems kind
hilarious.
of bumbling on the
Yeah. Oh
shoulders of
yeah.
the assistant.
Oh, absolutely. So, but he's like trying to maintain this relationship with his daughter and his ex-wife and everything like that. And so it's just like there's a whole lot going on, and it's just funny. It there's a lot going on, and it's absurd, and it's great. So if you like that kind of like sad sack down on his luck detective kind of style stories and everything like that, this would be right up your alley. So it works really well for me, and I'm excited to check it out. So it's good to see Keith David roll right from going off a
Duster.
Duster right into this show. And I'm pretty sure most of Duster had filmed a while ago, so it's like he just it transitioned easily into
Yeah.
it.
I just love
So
to see him in anything or hear him in
yeah.
anything. I don't care what it is.
It's so funny too, because one of the people in the audience in the movie or in the show, like Ethan Hawke comes in looking for him, and the waitress at this diner is just like, "Oh, you mean that silver-throated fella?" It's like yep. That's Keith David right there, boy. So, but yeah, no. So that's all I've been doing. Just catch up on some TV. What were you gonna tell me? So,
Oh, I don't even know. I have no clue. Oh, I know what it was. It was like I didn't have much because that's usually my MO when I
oh
come on
yeah,
here. I didn't because it's a slow week. Nothing has really been like
yeah.
out.
It's been a weirdly slow week. I've only got a couple of trailers and a couple of humble bundles to talk about. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you start first. What you got for me today?
Oh, sure. So, there is a new teaser trailer out for a movie called The Bride! Exclamation
Mm-hmm.
point. Is that one of yours?
Yep. Yep.
So this film, I don't know how I feel about the trailer. I don't know how I feel about this film. I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna watch it anyway, but um, it's kind of a weird 30s
1930s.
storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, of the bride and Frankenstein's monster, and it stars Jesse Jesse Buckley, couldn't say her name, and Christian Bale. It's directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal. It looks like Jake Gyllenhaal was in the trailer when I saw the little clips. And it
Mm-hmm.
just seems like 1930 Chicago, he Frankenstein's monster gets a companion, and they look almost like a Bonnie and Clyde type of
Mm-hmm.
thing
Yeah.
going on here. I don't know what to make of it, but I like Jessie Buckley a lot. Like I am a huge fan of her, and I'm
I
interested to
didn't.
see how this is going to work out.
I had to look up where she was from, and the only movie that I'd seen her in was Men. So, and I thought she was great at Men, but
Yeah, she's been on
yeah.
one of my favorite seasons of Fargo, and she also was in
Mm.
the
Okay.
Tom Hardy show Taboo. That was the first series that I
Oh,
saw
okay.
her in.
Gotcha.
So, I'm a huge fan of this actress. I don't know how I feel about the way that they look. I don't know how I feel about it being set in 1930 Chicago. Um, but
I
I
was
I can't.
getting like it was so funny too because like when I'm watching it in the beginning, I was getting more like 80s punk vibes.
Yeah.
And then I realized, oh no, wait, this is like obviously 30s somewhere, like that era. And I was, yeah, it did kind of trip me up. So yeah, I don't know what vibe it's going for. So, but it does look interesting. I do like the kind of the design of her, at least, her makeup and everything.
Right,
So,
yeah.
so anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go
No,
ahead.
no, no. I mean, I don't know how I feel about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of odd, but then I can't really say that because the very first thing I saw from Ryan Johnson was Brick, which is basically a neo-noir telling in a high school, and that
Hmm.
worked perfectly. So, I can't base it just from this trailer. I'm intrigued by it. I will say that. I'm interested to see how this plays out. I pretty much like every iteration of The Bride that I've seen. There's a few that are duds. I think it's funny that we're getting The Bride and we're also getting Frankenstein later as well.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's interesting. But I don't, and I also don't know how I feel about Maggie Gyllenhaal as a director. I think she's okay. She's directed a couple of other things, but I gotta feel this one out. But I at least wanted to say that the trailer is out, and you guys can make your own opinion from that.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks interesting enough. I don't know if it'll be a theater watch
Hmm.
or more of a streaming watch. So I think
Yeah.
that it's probably leaning more towards a streaming watch. But we'll see. All right. Yeah, that was also on my list. I'm sure this other one is on your list as well, but there came out a trailer for The Hand That Rocks the Cradle,
Yes.
a remake of that. And I was like, okay, but then I watched it and I was like, okay,
Yes.
here we go. Like Micah Monroe, like I'm okay with this. Like this is really cool. It actually looks really good.
It actually
Um,
does, and I was the
yeah,
same way. When I heard that they were remaking this, I was like, "Why? Why do we need to remake this? What could you possibly bring?"
yeah.
This trailer makes me go, "Yeah, I definitely got to see this."
Yeah, yeah. Mary Elizabeth Winstead also plays the wife in this. I'm like, okay, okay. This is like you got Mary Elizabeth Winstead and Michael Monroe and something in a nice horror remake of Hand the Rex Cradle. I'm gonna be there for that one. So,
I mean, and
um,
it's actually nice too because the guy who's playing Mary Elizabeth Winstead's husband, Raul Castillo, he is in Task, which is the HBO show that's currently playing. It's
okay,
so good, and he's really good on that show. So I can only imagine how good he's going to be in this.
yeah.
Have you seen the original, The Hand that Rocks the Cradle? Have you ever watched that?
If I have, it's been so long ago that I don't remember it. So,
My God, go back and watch that one first. That's my
all
because
right,
this looks like it's gonna very much exceed that one, but you gotta watch the original to get the vibe of where it's gonna be going because it's
yeah.
not.
Yeah, that's it. But it looks interesting. I'm very intrigued by this, and it's coming out on the Hulu towards the end of October. So,
Hmm.
it definitely, at least it'll be an easy watch, once it does come out. But yeah, no, it this looks
I
like a lot of
I
fun.
absolutely love this. The Hand that Rocks the Cradle is definitely the blueprint for every terrible Hallmark movie, Woman in Peril.
Right?
It's so bad, and it's so bad
Yeah.
that it's so good. But there's a lot of problematic things in the original because Ernie Hudson's playing a mentally disabled person, and it's like, what are we
Yeah.
doing here? However, Rebecca De Mornay and I can't remember who the Annabelle Sciorra. I can't
Annabella
remember.
Shora. Yeah.
Yes, oh my God. They are so evenly matched and they are so perfect in this movie. It's so melodramatic and over the top and violent, and I love it. It's the think of the worst Hallmark film, and
Yeah.
that movie is the blueprint. That's definitely
Yeah.
the blueprint.
Well, between this remake and the one that we talked about last week, The Housemaid, we get a couple of very similar movies coming out right around
Yeah,
the same time.
that'd be a
So
good like double pairing.
yeah, yeah, that's funny. All right, what's your next thing?
So it's actually my last thing because I did have The Hand
Okay,
That Rocks the Cradle on there in my list. Like you said, it was a
it was a
slow
slow week.
week.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
there is a new trailer out for Deathgasm 2 Goremageddon, and I
Oh, I
cannot
didn't know that.
freaking wait. Yes, there's a red band trailer, which is really gross.
Ooh,
Um,
very cool.
so if you've never seen Deathgasm, you definitely want to watch that one. This one is taking place exactly 10 years later. I think he had a Kickstarter to get this one made, and everything about this trailer is just hands-on exactly like the first one. I cannot wait to see all the zombies, to see what kind of unusual weapons that they have. It's we get some old bandmates that get resurrected from their graves to rock out again. This movie is going to be so dumb, but it's going to be so much fun. I am a huge fan of Deathgasm, and Jason Lee Howden. His direction is just it shouldn't be as fun as it is, but it is. Um, if I'm not mistaken, I think he did Guns Akimbo. I think
Yeah, I
that
was
was his
just looking
second.
that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did Guns Akimbo also.
And that was a lot of, it's just fun. You just want
I need
something
to
that's
see that one.
fun.
I haven't watched Guns Akimbo yet, but
Really?
yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. That's probably right up
I
your
know
alley.
Daniel Radcliffe and Samara Weaving. Yeah, like I don't know how. It's one of those ones that I've been meaning to watch. I just never have. So
Yeah.
I just need to sit down and watch
It's
it.
definitely one that I could see you being like, okay, this is perfect. This is like a lot of
Um,
action, a lot of humor, a lot of gross stuff. It's just
yeah, yeah.
absurd. But yeah, Deathgasm,
I have
I'm
seen the original, and I am excited for this new one. I need to rewatch the original because I haven't
right.
seen it in a very long time. So, but yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm excited for that. I'll have to look that up once we're done here.
Hmm.
All right, cool, cool, cool. All right, well, I have two things left, and they're kind of combined. Um, there are two new Humble bundles that came out this week in the comic book section. Um, one came out the other day. Um, that was a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle bundle. They've done like three of these so far, and I've gotten all three.
Hmm.
You really only kind of need this one. This one kind of like has everything in it that was in the first two, plus a few new things. But this is from IDW. They're the ones who have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles license right now. So it's like they have the entire run of um like it's like 150 issues or something like that, plus everything all combined in these IDW collections in this bundle.
Hmm.
Plus they've got some older stuff, like some of the old Mirage comics collected in some books and stuff like that. So it's a good collection of like old and new turtle stuff. So if you like the Ninja Turtles, it's a really good bundle to get. Um, you want to get the top tier. I think it's $35. But that'll have everything included in it. And then there's also a new Hellboy bundle, like a Hellboy Universe bundle. This one is kind of completes the rest of like if you've gotten any of the hell if you've gotten all the other Hellboy bundles,
Hmm.
there's been four previous bundles before this one. So this one's the fifth one. This new one has the Witchfinder series in it, plus a few other things here and there that weren't in previous bundles. Weirdly, it's like they're still missing like one collected edition that was like it's not super important. It's a side story type thing. So, but it's just there's one random thing that's still missing to make it quote unquote complete up to date ish at the moment. There's a few other um recent series that they didn't add into this also. But I mean, if you have all five of these bundles, you should be basically complete. And this is like over 100 volumes of material. It's like the
Oh,
entire
wow.
story of Hellboy and the BPRD and all the Lobster Johnson and Witchfinder and Abe Sapien books. It's like everything. If you can get all that, it's great. That being said, if you miss some of that stuff, Fanatical .com has book bundles also that you can buy. It's a different website, and their bundles are done differently. Like you can pick
Hmm.
and choose bits. You don't have to buy the whole bundle. You can actually just pick and choose certain books out of those bundles. They also have a big bundle right now that you can get for only like $15, and you can get what is it? It's a lot of stuff. What is this? 33 books for like $15. And it's got
Jeez.
like a bunch of Hellboy and the B stuff, a bunch of the side stuff, and all the volumes of just the BPRD comic book. So it doesn't have all the individual Hellboy stuff currently, but they've done it before, so they might get it back again. I don't know, but yeah, so it's a good deal. Like just getting these two bundles, and I'll link both the Fanatical and the Humble Bundle on the show notes, as well as the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles bundle. But yeah, if you get both of those bundles, you'll have like the bulk of everything you would need,
Wow.
except for the main line Hellboy stuff. You'd be missing a few things here and there, but like overall, you'd get like the bulk of all the side stuff, which would be really nice. So, but yeah, that's uh, that's all I got. So,
Yeah, that's pretty
um,
cool. I always love when you
right.
bring those humble bundles in.
Yeah, I mean they're good deals. I feel like, you know, like I said with that Ninja Turtles one, if you pay $35, you get over 100, like, probably over 200 issues of the like like the most recent Turtles. They rebooted it after the 150 issues, but they even have the first trade of the new title in there as well. And so they've got all 150 issues of that title that also has all the extra miniseries and stuff like that interwoven through those collections. Plus a large portion of the original um Mirage titles, the original Ninja Turtle stories are in this as well. And so if you like Ninja Turtles for $35, you can have like pretty much everything you could want from them.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then with the Hellboy stuff, what it was it that one I said was 15, and then the Humble Bundle one currently is, I think it's 18. So like $33 for all that, and you would have, yeah, you'd have a large portion of, you wouldn't have everything between the Hellboy stuff, but you'd have a good amount of stuff. um and it'd be a lot cheaper than just trying to buy them digitally individually. And that being said, I do want to warn that at least with the Hellboy stuff is all PDF and DRM free. The Teenage Mutant Turtle stuff is not DRM free. And it's not, you have to, it basically gives you a code to use on this uh book reading site Kobo, which is pretty popular book
Hmm.
reader and stuff. They're kind of rivaling Amazon. A lot of people are trying to get away from Kindle and they're going to Kobo. So you can do it through Kobo. And that, I know that's, for some people I've seen online, that's like a deal breaker for them. They won't get it through them, but I've gotten it, and it's perfectly fine. They have e-reader software for tablets and phones and stuff like that too, and it's almost no different than reading it through my regular um, app that I use for reading my PDF comics.
Hmm.
So it's pretty good. So I mean, it's an extra little step, but it's not that big of a deal. So, but yeah, that's all I have. Um, before we move on to the rest of the show, I know you told me off air you don't know what you're doing this week on your show.
I have
Um,
no clue.
but make sure to go over, check out whatever she did put on her show. Um, because it's always worth checking out. Last week she did her top five Stephen King and her top, or her bottom five Stephen King
Yeah.
adaptations. I have yet to listen to that. I need to, um, but I can't wait to listen to that because I want to see what you put on yours, and makes me think about what I would put on my list of top five.
Yeah,
I,
October is a little bit better because I already have all October all planned out. But
okay.
this last week in September, I was just like, I have no idea what I'm doing this week. So we'll all be surprised together.
Yeah. I do want to put it out there. I put it out on social media just before we went to record. But I want to put it out there for anybody who's listening. I am looking for guests for the next two episodes. Unfortunately, the guests that I had lined up for those two episodes had to back out. So I need to put somebody else in. Um, I'm on the lookout for women, people of color, or LGBTQIA plus people. So just let me know if you're interested and you fit one of those or all of those. you know, um, just let me know, and I would love to have you on, and we can talk. With the episodes that we're going to be talking about are Knock at the Cabin and Trap, the two M. Night Shyamalan movies. So if you're interested, hit me up on Instagram. Let me know. I have a post up there now about it. Just let me know, and we can try to work something out. All right. Thanks again, Donna. I appreciate it. Everybody else, stay tuned for the rest of the episode. Talking to Cat Voleur about M. Night Shyamalan's Old, which is a fun conversation, as always, with Cat. And until next time, stay creepy. On today's episode, Cat Voleur returns to the show to talk about M. Night Shyamalan's Old. Cat is the author of Revenge Arc and Puppet Shark, the novelization, as well as the co-host of the Nick F. and Woo Cage cast. Welcome back to the show, Cat.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's good to be back.
Yeah, it's always good having you on. It's been a minute.
It
Um,
has been.
uh, which is good. It's good to space it out a little bit. Sometimes you're my go-to
Yeah.
where I'm like, I need somebody emergency stat, and you're like, okay, I'll do it. But this that hasn't been necessary for a bit, which has been good.
That's good.
Yeah. So, but how are things going with you in your life in general? What new project do you have coming out? If you want to plug some new book
A
or something.
hectic time. Um, because of podcast time travel magic, I'm not actually sure what my next book will be at the time that this comes out, but I do have some exciting things coming up. Uh, Covered in Darkness is going to be wrapping up here in a couple of months, and that's been, like the big thing
Yeah.
for a while. So, uh, that's always exciting, and I've got some conventions coming up, so
Okay. Well,
that's
this
a
episode drops on October 1st, so if
Oh,
you
so I have
know.
some conventions I've just finished. Uh, I lied. I'm back home now, and everything went really well, guys.
Yay.
Uh, uh,
Always happy to hear
Knock on
that.
wood. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. Well, let's go ahead and jump into this.
Yeah.
We are talking about M. Night Shyamalan's Old, which is one of his I would say his part of his second phase. Um, you know,
That's a very
uh,
polite way of putting it.
yeah, I would say generally the where I kind of go with it is Sixth Sense to Lady in the Water is
Uh-huh.
first phase. The Happening, um, and um, Last Airbender and After Earth are the middle phase that we don't talk about, and then the Visit Onward is his second phase. So, and
Okay.
I feel like that's like he had the first phase where he was the up and comer and the really big stuff that really hit big for him, and then kind of started to fade towards the end, and then now with the Visit he came back with the Visit and Split hitting, and so this follows Glass, which was a highly anticipated but turned out to be not so well received movie, which I talked about in my last episode. Um, but this one was completely new, not connected to anything. This one is based on a French graphic novel,
It is.
which I did not know. I think I probably found out about it not too long after I originally watched it or whatever. Um, but it's definitely I've never read it, so I don't know. From
I
what I understand, it's a different story told with different characters. He took the idea from it and made a new story with new characters in the same setting.
I have kind of a fun story about the French
Okay.
graphic novel. I'm a big enthusiast of French graphic novels. And in anticipation of this movie coming out, I decided to order a copy of the graphic novel. Unfortunately, they're hard to get in America. Uh, and
Yeah.
then fortunately for me, especially if you want to read them in French, which is kind of how I prefer to do it. It's like my weird little niche collection of, French
Right.
French graphic novels. So but I have a friend, I have a pen pal who lives in France, and I every now and then I'll treat myself and I'll, get in touch with him and I'll send him an ungodly amount of money to ship me French graphic novels because the shipping always adds up. Uh,
Yeah.
I reached out to him before this and we set it up. He was going to send me the graphic novel for this and then the last volume that
Oh,
I needed of Transpersonnage, which was another big one that I've been like trying to collect all four volumes of that for like a really long time. And I was like, since I'm paying for shipping anyway, like let's go big, let's do it. Um,
yeah.
because they were and that it's like a huge deal to me in the States, but it's very common over there. Like it's very easy to pick up most of these graphic novels in France. They were out, so by the time they got shipped to him, like to the comic book store there and then to here, I had already seen old by the time that my package arrived, and I still have not read it. It's still just
Ah,
sitting on my shelf. With the other one. Transpersonnage, though, like highly recommend. But one day I will get, I was thinking about getting around to reading it before we recorded this podcast, but we were talking about it before the show. This has just not been a great week for me to be
yeah.
translating graphic novels. So one
Yeah.
day, that is like one
Yeah.
of my dream like thing. I'm looking forward to reading it though.
All right.
I'm sure
Well,
it's great.
maybe pop you back on for a quick review or something.
Yeah,
A
I'll
quick
send you like
follow-up.
a YouTube short.
There you go. Um, but yeah, no, I saw this. I believe I actually saw this in the theater. I know that when he started making his comeback, I did not see The Visit in the theater. And I don't believe I saw Split in the theater. Um, I know I saw Glass, and I think I've seen everything since then. Um, yeah, I do remember I saw this in the theater, because my daughter and I went to go see it, like we do all of the movies for the most part. Um, but I do remember enjoying it when I first watched it, and enjoyed it on this recent watch as well. And what do you think of it overall?
I think it's really bad, but I think it's really I think it's really bad in like the most entertaining possible way.
Okay.
It's a big reason why I chose this one. Because I think it's yeah, it's so beautiful of a train wreck. Like there are just a lot of decisions creatively that I don't even come close to understanding why they made the decisions that they made for this movie. But like I'm glad that they did because it's the most interesting part of the movie to me is like the meta level why did they do this for a film?
That's
Like
interesting.
I think it's
All right.
really it's a fascinating piece of cinema. I
Uh,
also saw it in theater. This was the well, I joke about this with my partner a lot. I almost asked to see if we could schedule a time where he could come on also and talk about this movie. He liked it a lot more than I did, but he also we make a lot of jokes about how like we ended up together, even though this was like one of the first movies that we saw on a date together. It's not a good date movie. Like it's very uncomfortable.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I can see it being uncomfortable to
it's
watch.
also not like I it's interesting that you saw it with your daughter. This was one because usually I take my dad to go see movies, and this was one he learned like what it was about, and he was like, "I don't think I want to see that with you in a theater." And I was like, "Okay." I didn't really know what he was talking about, but then I got out of the movie and I was like, "Oh, that would have been uncomfortable with my father." Yeah, like
Interesting. What is okay, so what is it that you find uncomfortable about it
what
for
I
watching it with your dad? Yeah.
what I think would have made I think because my dad I think is a little bit more sensitive to uncomfortableness than I am.
Okay.
I think that is probably because I do read a lot of French graphic novels. They're all very uncomfortable. I'm very
Right.
desensitized to it. But yeah, I think I think my dad in particular would have had a really tough time with the pregnancy arc of this film.
Okay.
And I think that if someone with me had been that uncomfortable watching it, I by proxy would have been more uncomfortable watching it.
That's so funny. I don't even think
Like
like that. That's so funny because like I don't even like that's it's definitely I guess an uncomfortable part of the movie, but like I wasn't uncomfortable because of it.
I will
So
say it's like because I do view this more as like I keep using the word train wreck, but I was in the theater watching this like, oh, why would they do this? And then like, but as a meta level, it's like I think it's very fascinating the decision to be like, ah, yes, this is how pregnancy would work in this movie. Let's give that arc to the 6-year-old. And I was like, no. I hate that. Why would they do that? And then the part that really kills me, both like watching the movie and rewatching the movie today, and just like thinking about it in the abstract, what really gets me is the fact that the baby immediately dies. Because then you're thinking about it and you're like, the alternatives here are that the baby dies from neglect, and we wonder like why we saw the entire thing because it feels very like pointless and gratuitous and uncomfortable at that point. Or the baby survives and then we have to watch it try to develop like into an adult as a baby, like, which is also bad. And then
yeah.
you have to like work backwards from that part where you're like, so again, why? Why did they do this in the movie if these were going to be the two options? I don't understand why that was put to screen, but I'm fascinated. Like, it's crazy.
I mean,
I would
I can kind of understand it because I mean, you know, you're talking about yes, they were 6-year-olds mentally when they started, for sure.
yeah.
100% I agree with you. They're not going to gain maturity um
No.
mentally within the span of those hours, but I think that's why like I think it's there's a degree of like talking about just in terms of hormones and stuff like that. Just that's why it was a mistake, you know, to leave them alone to begin with. Um, like
Yeah.
how would that even become a thing for them to even think about doing is one question for sure. You know, but then I think once you've already tipped past that question and you're just like, okay, we're gonna just go ahead and do it. There was nothing to do. The only choice was to have the baby die. Um, we're jumping way over a whole bunch.
I'm sorry.
No,
But
no,
that's
no,
like
it's
that is
fine.
kind of the moment for me that I think personifies like what it is about this movie that I think fundamentally makes it a bad film, but also like one of the most entertaining films of all time.
That's so
Like
funny too, because I don't feel like it's a bad movie. I don't feel like it's a great movie by any means. There's a lot of I don't know. There's a lot going on in this movie. Um,
there's so much
but
going on in this
yeah.
movie.
So so for anybody that doesn't know, it's
Yeah,
basically
sorry.
about this family that goes on this trip to this island. They're going on a vacation. Apparently, the parents are having some kind of problems. You eventually find out that the mother has a tumor, um, and needs to have the operation to get rid of it, but is concerned about. I'm assuming they're concerned about possibility of dying and leaving the kids and everything. And so there's this huge, I don't know, it just felt that part for sure kind of bothered me because I'm just like, why is this becoming such a bigger thing? It's just a
I,
tumor.
I want to like just I'll try not to derail us too much, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
kind of the other thing about why I don't think this movie works because because like they work in tandem together. Either it's like I don't feel like they had enough time to like properly elaborate on all of the things that they wanted to do, and or
Yeah.
not enough consideration was put into it. We waste I don't want to say we waste time, but like we do kind of waste a lot of time with the pregnancy thing, which I don't think added a ton.
No,
I don't think it
I
added a
truly
ton
believe
to the
that I
plot.
truly believe that was added to it to make to shock. That was a
Yeah.
shock moment. Oh God, she's pregnant. Oh God, the baby's dead. And
Right.
then just like, it's
It's like
so
a
quick.
1-2 punch because it happens
Yeah,
like, but it's like I think I think either I would be a lot more forgiving of this movie, and I think it would work a lot better on paper if we had either really focused on the characters or we had really focused on the science, because I don't think it found an adequate balance of the two. There are a lot of plot holes with the science, which makes me think like that's not the point of the movie. But then
right.
we also don't have I and circling back around, I feel like we should have a better understanding of why she doesn't like want to treat the tumor, you know? I
Yeah.
don't feel like we understood the character motivations well enough in this
No,
movie.
I
And we
think the
do have a
pro
lot of characters to juggle
that's
when
the
all is said
problem
and
I think
done.
is the most problematic about the movie is that because there are so many characters, the family who's supposed to be at the center of this
Yeah,
ends up getting lost in the shuffle. There's too many other characters because they're trying to do too many different interesting things with each character. And that's fine. But then like, I don't know, dial back some of that if you're not going to
dial
have like
back some of the
if you're going to
yeah.
make it a true ensemble piece instead of the focus on this family, because once you focus on the family and but then you're not focused on them, then you lose that. So no, I
Right, like
agree,
it's
like
framed as a
there's
story with the
definitely,
family, and I
yeah.
I do give this movie a lot of shit, but I think one of the things that like would have made it really good for me, because I'm willing to overlook, I was going to say most science stuff, let's just say all science stuff. Like a movie doesn't have to make a lot of sense if I really
Yes,
care about the characters. And
absolutely agreed. Yeah.
I think like at a storyboarding process of this movie, they thought we were really going to care about the characters, so they didn't put enough like time and attention to make sure that, the rest of the movie was making sense.
Yeah, but they also didn't make the characters make sense at times. So,
Yeah, the
I mean,
characters
and
also don't make a lot of
it
sense.
sounds like we're really bashing on this movie, but like again, I actually enjoyed it. I actually like overall watching this movie, I was just like, okay, I'm not invested, but I'm interested in the weird shit that's going on in this. It grabbed me just enough and had me just going, okay, let's see what happens next. And so
Yeah,
it was like that's the sole thing about it that really grabbed me more than anything else was just like, okay, what weird thing is going to happen now? Like, what aspect of getting older is going to, you know, change somebody fundamentally? And like, I get it. You had to have the kids there so you could show the rapid process of time because in
sure.
adults, like
It's more
20
subtle
years,
in
yeah,
adults.
20 years is more subtle. Um, and so, I mean, you got the kids went from he was a 6-year old to a 50-year old in the span of that day. And so yeah, it's crazy.
And
Um,
because you talked about how you were bashing on this movie, but you liked it. I didn't like it. Enjoy is not a word I would use, but I don't think I've ever been like so glued to a theater screen in my life. Like the absolute shock that I was filled with, like start to finish in this movie,
right.
absolutely unparalleled. Like it's compelling. And I chose, like, when we were talking about getting me on the schedule for the Shyamalan thing, like, Old is the movie. I want the audience to know this. I chose this movie, like, because I think about it a lot. It's the M. Night Shyamalan movie that I think about the most. It comes up in conversation a lot in my household.
That's
Like,
too
this movie
funny.
did kind of change my brain chemistry, even though I
That's
am
so
very
fun.
mean to it.
It's so funny too, because like conversely, I very rarely think about this movie. I was just like, okay, this is an interesting movie. Like, so my letterboxed, I always like to go to my letterboxd and see what exactly did I feel about this movie. So this was October 27th, 2021, which I believe was, yeah, right around the time it came out. I said, apparently I'm in the minority as I enjoyed this more than other people did. It's not the best movie, but I dug the idea behind it. And I really mean about like the island and like that specific area of the island that they're using for
Yeah.
testing. It was worth the watch, even if I'm unlikely to watch it again anytime soon. So, and I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. So, I mean, and it's true.
I do.
I think I've only seen it. This is maybe the third, maybe only the second time I've ever seen it. Because while I enjoyed it that first watch, it was just okay. Um, and I still
That is
think
really
it's
interesting because, like, even though I did not like it, it is my Roman Empire. I think about this movie nonstop all the time. Like,
too
I,
funny.
I have nightmares about old, where it's like, but what if and it's I think the concept is really like intriguing. I don't think they
Yes.
delve into it well, and I don't think it's framed through characters that I cared enough. But I love there's something that's like very genius, I think, about here's this magical, mystical, unexplainable power in this island turning people old. We're gonna use it for drug testing. Like that's just it's good.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
into it. Uh,
Yeah. No, it's an interesting idea. We get M. Night himself is one of the characters, is actually a character. He's not a very big character in it, but he's ostensibly a villain because he ferries the people there and
yeah.
observes them the entire day that they're there. Um, it feels like a very for what is it? Like it's not even a 2 hour long movie. And it's only roughly like 24 hours of time period. It definitely feels like a long ass time is going on in this movie.
It
And
does.
not in a bad way. It actually
Kind
feels
of in a
it's
bad way.
pretty it's overall pretty zippy. It moves along pretty fast. There's usually something happening. There's not like a whole lot of super downtime for them to every time there is a little bit of downtime, you think for a second they're going to be able to sit and think something weird happens.
Yeah.
So there's definitely he keeps the pace going pretty
Al
good.
Almost to a detriment. I want to throw that out there. This movie
Yeah.
feels long to me. It felt kind of long in the theater, even when I was like very, very excited to see what was about to happen. I was surprised when it was like, you know, I was surprised when I found out the runtime because I felt like this was a much longer movie than it was. And watching it today, knowing what was going to happen, it's like, oh boy, it's kind of a slog at times. But that does not mean that there isn't always stuff happening. And actually, a big complaint that I have about like the structure of the movie as a whole is that it's very much telling instead of showing. Like all of the things that we hear about how the island is working and like what the mechanics are just people like standing around theorizing who happen to be correct.
Yeah.
And which drives me up the wall. Like I think that's bad planning for the movie, especially when there's a science team observing them. Like
Yeah.
um I think it's kind of a silly way to show that, but also there's a point in there where they kind of figure out like how they could leave the island, and then it's like, well, we're old and now too
Yeah.
late. And it's like, no, like test stuff, like let us see these things in action, you know?
Yeah.
And I guess the theory there was just that like it would be too boring to watch people slowly emerge off of the island from the trail they came in through or whatever. But like I don't know, that's where you have a fight happen or, like there's there's so much infighting in this movie. I feel like they could have reworked it so that they could like try the solution that makes the most sense and get interrupted and then it's too late. And it made everyone feel very passive, which again fed into the I don't really care about the survival of these characters the way that I feel like I'm supposed to. um Kind of a mess. But there's stuff happening all the time. Like
No,
I,
there is. I mean,
you
there's
can't say that you're bored, if any
exactly.
if any other high concept horror movie had characters just standing around like, I think this is happening, I would eat that movie alive. Like you would never hear the end of it. And in old, it's like I don't even know how much more time they could have dedicated to even trying these things because like shit's going down all the time.
Well, and that was the problem too, is like even when they were trying to do something, something else would happen that would prevent them from even figuring it out, and that was
Yeah.
I think that was the interesting part of it for me too, was just that they tried figuring it out. They just there was always something going on. Either somebody in the group was something was happening to them that was throwing everything off, or they would try to do an escape. They broke up into three groups of two, and then all of them got knocked out and ended up on the beach again. And um it was just, I think ultimately part of the problem with this movie is like, and we already touched on it, is just that the characters themselves are generally boring.
Yeah.
And most of the actors in this, they do an okay job, but like with the main parents, Gael Garcia Bernal and Vicky Creeps. I don't know if I'm saying that right or not. Creeps. Um, they're just, I don't know, they're just kind of bland. I've never,
It
like, Gael Garcia Bernal. I've watched him in things. Even he's in the Werewolf by Night for the MCU stuff and everything. He's just not, to me, he's not a magnetic personality.
okay.
Um,
I can see that. I don't think I know him from anything else, but
I mean, these are literally like the only two things that I recognized him in. Like, I don't know what else he might have been in that I would have seen him in.
and
Let's
I
see.
try not to judge like the actors too harshly from this movie. There's
No, I mean, because the
because
writing is part of it for
the writing
sure.
is part of it. There's like an uncanny valley quality to the dialogue in this movie where it's like y- you've seen more or less this conversation in a movie before, but never phrased quite like this. Like it's just it has a very unnatural. So I do kind of try not to blame the actors so much.
Right.
For
Yeah.
like but the characters do have that sort of bland like uh, they're not
Right.
given a lot of material to work with, which again it's crazy especially for the kid, especially for the one why can I not think of his name, the
Alex
son.
Wolf.
Yeah, Alex Wolf. He is given arguably way too much to process in this movie, and then he just kind of has like this bland non-reaction, because there's something else to move on to, and then at the end,
Yeah.
by the time that him and his sister are old, it's like we've kind of moved on from this. But the absolute tantrum that I feel like most kids would be throwing, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. And part of it you could argue is that like children, how much do they understand what's happening, right? But also like if you're going to introduce like crazy wild themes into a movie, you've got to give the actors something to like chew on with it, you
Yeah.
know?
It's just, yeah, I don't know. The whole family dealing with their whole drama, and then you've got the other family with Rufus Sewell and Abby Lee. Like, if she's the trophy wife to his doctor, who's obviously having some kind of mental issue. Like, I was reading, I think it was in the Wikipedia, and he apparently he's schizophrenic. Um, it's never explained in the movie itself. But so, and then
I
he
thought
just, go ahead.
I thought he was a Nazi. Because I only know that actor from roles where he's been a Nazi. I just kind of assumed that he was like just like crazy
I
Nazi
mean,
man finally showing his true colors.
well, he is literally like, every time he turns around, he's like literally about to stab either the black guy, the Asian guy, or the Hispanic guy. So
I know
he comes off very racist for
he
sure.
does.
Um, but but it didn't seem like it was coming from a place of racism necessarily. Like, every time it happened, it seemed like there was something other going on. It wasn't, I mean, it was racism, sure, but it was also just like, why was he always thinking these guys were out to steal his stuff, or or
Yeah.
steal his wife, or whatever random ass excuse he was using. But it was just like, but yeah, comes find out it's like schizophrenia. It should have been explained. It wasn't.
It should have
um
been.
but there's like, because there's context clues in there, because like the mother's trying to says something about him, like, you know taking it easy, like his mother, and then his wife is trying to, say, "Oh no, it's okay. He's okay now," or something like that. There's like these little tidbits here and there, but again, it's not explained. Um, they just kind of touch on these light things. Every group in here has something going on because the main group, the mother has a tumor. In this group with Rufus Sewell and Abby Lee, he's got schizophrenia and she's got uh hypocalcemia, which I also
Yeah.
read in the Wikipedia. The the husband and wife, the wife has seizures, and then the rapper with the dumbass name Midsize
Mid-size
Sedan,
sedan. He's
which
my favorite
again,
part of the movie.
but Aaron Pierre, who was in what's that show, that Netflix movie he was in? He's also going to be on the new Green Lanterns show on HBO Max. Um, but he was this was a early role for him. But yeah, it was just he's got what is it? It's the bleeding, like he bleeds easily thing. I
Oh,
forget.
yeah.
Um, I'm looking it up real quick. Um,
In the meantime, I just want to say mid-size
he's
sedan is another
hemophilia.
one of those questions that I had about the movie where it was like, why would they call him that? And the longer I've sat with this movie, the more it's like, that is the perfect name for this character.
It's just
It's so good.
it's so dumb.
It
Um,
is. And that's the thing is that it's like I don't know if it's I don't know if it's genius or really stupid because it's like I think in this world, in this uncanny valley dialogue world, mid-size sedan might be a tremendous name for a rapper. Like that's great world
well,
building.
to be
But
fair, there are rappers with dumb in the real world with dumber names.
that it is
And
true.
so, so I am not gonna say who because I don't actually know all of them. But I just I've
And
heard some here and there, and I'm just like, oh my God, what is that name?
And
But
then it's like,
that's the
is
name
this
they chose.
satire? Is this like, do they really think this is a peak rapper name? I don't know, because this movie's giving me nothing else. But when I say that this movie comes up all the time, pretty much every time any rapper comes up, I bring up Midsize Sedan. I like force this character into conversations because incredible. Also, Midsize Sedan, he's my favorite character. I was rooting for him. I do think he should have been dead way he should have been dead and gone, like arguably before they got to the beach,
That's funny.
or very
Yeah,
shortly after they got to the beach. The
yeah,
time in this movie is
yeah,
all over the place.
yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, the timing doesn't work on that one. I did think it was funny though too, because like there's the moment where they're talking about where somebody's like talking about how like aging is it's going to show up earlier on some of us than others, and
Yeah,
that's when he leans over to the black woman, is all like uh and says something to the fact that they wish they were black or something like that,
yeah,
because of the whole um thing about black skin not aging as harsh as white skin does. Um, and so I thought that was a funny little thing. I didn't catch that the first time, I don't think, because it was, and I might have, I don't know, but I just thought it was a funny little aside. Um, I don't know, this movie, like I like it overall. I don't hate it. But it's just like it definitely does not hold up to scrutiny at all.
no, and it
Once you
it is
start examining it, it's
frustrating.
just like, what the hell is going on? So yeah,
Because like again, if I really cared about the characters of this movie, I would never try to poke holes in the logic of the
right.
movie. But because I didn't care about them, I do have a lot of questions where it's like, and it's so frustrating because I think the science concept makes for some really interesting kills. Even though I didn't like the movie this year when I was like ranking my like top moments of the year, Old got my best kill of the year because I think
Okay.
using rust as an accelerant poison
Yeah.
in this kind of situation, like that's really clever and interesting. It's visually the kind of thing that we don't get to see a lot, and it works better with the context. And I was really into stuff like that. But then you think about it for a second, and it's like, okay, well, the bacteria of everyone's fingers would have killed.
Yeah.
Like, that surgery would have ended a very different way when you
Yeah,
think
exactly.
about it for even like a second. And then, it's they made a lot of cuts, I'm sure for budgetary reasons, uh to the suspension of disbelief where it's like, you know, we can show skeletons decay because it'll look cool for a shot, uh, but it doesn't work on dead cells because we don't want to show wigs. Like we don't want to
Yeah.
deal with the wigs situation. And it's like there's there's just a lot of, and but then they're like, the kid's hair doesn't grow because of the dead cells, but then the boy has the 5 o'clock shadow. It's just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that, and I don't want to be like, I don't want to be the fun police in a fun high concept movie, but when they like pin so much of it on it being about the science and the experiment and this like situation, and they made a big deal in like the promo for this after the movie where they're like, here's the equation where each, minute is this many hours in like
Yeah.
the outside world and stuff. And it's like you can't, make it sound that sciency when it's not, though.
I think it's I think you're right. I think if they had either focused on the characters more, maybe thin down the amount of characters that were there, um, and then that way they could focus better. I think that could have helped, or focusing on the science more, and that would have required more of a um more of the outside people, the actual scientists and stuff like that, maybe doing the observations and stuff like
Yeah.
that, maybe having more of a outsider view of what was happening and them like discussing what was going on. I
This
think that could have made it better as well too. But having it
and
just be only on the beach the whole time, it kind of you're focused too much on the characters that are too thin.
And I
So,
wonder too, like I said, I have not actually gotten around to reading the graphic novel. I wonder if that was a problem or not in the source material, because
yeah.
well, first of all, the French stories are usually very character focused, so they might have resolved it that way. I also feel like they had a smaller cast in the graphic novel.
Yeah.
That they had a lot of people in this one because they wanted to show off cool kills, I think. Um, but I do wonder because that is kind of like one of my favorite, like, very hyper specific genres of horror movie, right? Is like, here's a spooky horror concept, but it's being observed in world by an outside force, you know? And it's like, I
Right.
wonder if because this was an M. Night Shyamalan movie and a lot of people expect that big twist, that they were like, oh, we'll put all the science observation stuff at the end, and then we'll learn it was the cocktails the whole time that were being tested. And I think I would have liked the movie a lot more if we had also seen that observation. Like I would have bought into it a lot more. I'm very predisposed to like that kind of trope. Um and I don't think it was well utilized here, which is unfortunate. I also and again, I picking fun at the science, like just poking holes and stuff where you don't need to think about it too much. But why, first of all, what if you're not in the mood for your favorite cocktail when you're jet lagged? And second of all,
Yeah.
I feel like a concentrated dose of like 50 years of medication in a single cocktail would just kill you dead. Like
Right.
there has to be a better way to test this,
Yeah.
which I wouldn't have thought about if they didn't have the big like flashback to the cocktails, where they're like, we
Right.
administered the meds without you even knowing. And it's like, you did a lot of stuff without them knowing. I don't know why the cocktails are necessary.
Right. Yeah. No, I think it's interesting too because this movie was made during the pandemic. It
Mhm.
was made in 2020. and released in 2021. So, they had all of that kind of, I guess, anxiety and everything else, all the precautions and everything they had to do during the filming of all this. Um, so I think that kind of plays into some of this as well. Um, good or bad.
Yeah.
Because there is something to be said about having that as your, like, to think about while you're watching this. Is just that
Right.
that was going on at the same time. So that doesn't excuse bad storytelling, but it's just,
Eh,
it's an interesting behind the scenes part of this to think about.
eh,
So
And
yeah, go
this
ahead.
is going to be really mean, but it is interesting because I feel like even though that was just like it was such a bad time, to be working on movies, to be doing anything, to be at home waiting for distractions and all of your favorite movies are delayed. Like it was just it, but you look at other projects that came out around this time that like really used that isolation to come up
Hmm.
with like new creative things, and it feels almost mean to put old up next to those because it was already, like in production, but it,
Right.
it it is interesting. I think like some of the most creative workarounds and, miracle pieces of cinema came out like from that necessity to do stuff. And then we have something like Old where it's like how much of a role did this play, and was it better or worse for those conditions?
Right,
And we'll
exactly.
never know because there's so many other mysteries to the
Yeah,
creative process of Old. But
yeah.
I wonder about it sometimes though. Like
Well, this is your Roman Empire,
it's
so
my Roman
makes
Empire. I
sense.
compare this to Pearl sometimes, and I'm like, interesting. Or like
Oh yeah.
Host. I think about it in Host, and I'm like, huh, one of these
About other
feels
other
better.
movies. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get that. Like, I mean, Host is, like, benefited from being a movie, but it's, like, all done on Zoom, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't want, like, I don't think in terms of, you know the production necessarily, that the COVID, the pandemic had anything to do with it, good or bad. I think that just, it could have colored maybe some of it, in a way. Maybe, just the anxieties of what they were going through may have affected it. Who knows? That's the interesting thing, is we'll never know. Um, Again, I
But it's a mystery. It's a
yeah,
fun mystery.
I think that people should see this. If you haven't watched it, you should definitely watch it. It's not, the worst movie that he's done by far. Um,
It's not. And I will
and
also, as someone that didn't like this movie, I will second it is not the worst by a long shot.
no, it's actually generally, it's kind of middle of the road. It's got some interesting ideas. The characters are kind of bland-ish, but they're still they're still doing interesting things. And I think that's where, and, like, you have to watch it as just this um mashup of interesting ideas that don't quite gel right.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you got to come down on it and go, okay, so interesting movie, but, at least watch it once if you're interested, for sure.
And
But
something that I will say about Old as like a recommendation, I also think that everyone should watch Old. Um, I'm a very firm believer of I'm okay if I love a movie or I'm okay if I hate the movie. If the movie is boring, I'm gonna leave kind
right.
of mad. This is not boring. Like
No, exactly.
you
This is what
can't
I
say
said.
that about Old.
The worst cinema movie can be is boring.
Right.
And that's the thing. Like, that's typically the only time I will generally give a really low review on something, is if it's just boring and I was just, like, not focused. Like, it just can't keep my focus, and it's just the performances suck and there's nothing really going on. then yeah, no, but yeah, no, old is not boring at all
No.
ever.
Mm-mm.
Um, there's always something weird or strange or interesting happening because there is good stuff in this movie.
Yeah.
And there are good moments where the performances are actually okay. I think Thomas and Mackenzie is doing a good job in this, with what she has. She plays the young
The
adult version, the older teen young adult version of the main daughter character.
Okay.
Um, so she's the one that is in Last Night in Soho.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, same year that they both came out, same year,
Oh,
2021, which
that's
was interesting.
very interesting.
Yeah,
I
very
I would have
different.
thought those were further apart.
I thought they were two. I thought they were at least a year or something apart, but apparently, according to um Wikipedia and all that, they came out the same year in 2021. So I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Um, but yeah, so I mean, maybe Last Night in Soho actually came out later. Maybe it was just one of those things where it was
I think it might have been like an early year, late year situation then.
could be, yeah. So Last Night in Soho came out. Yeah, it says 2021. So let's see, its US release theatrical was October 29th, 2021. That was Last Night in Soho. And then Old was July 23rd. So yeah, just a few months before Last Night in Soho. So yeah, I just yeah. Two very different performances, two very different directors. Um, but yeah, I think again, watch this if you haven't and you have been interested in it. I think it's worth the one watch at least. Just so that you can, you know, enjoy it. Like I said, I'm not even covering three of his movies because I have no desire to cover three, So this one was at least good enough for me to cover. So that says a lot.
I
So
also I want to just like shout out because when we were talking about what M. Night Shyamalan movie I would come on for, I love sharing my Shyamalan takes because I have the hottest ones, I feel like. I feel like this is the category where I have generally the hottest takes. Uh
interesting.
the one that I had wanted to talk about most was one that was so bad it did not even make the lineup. Uh, this was
That was
my
the happening,
second
right?
choice. It was The Happening. I was so excited
Yeah.
to talk about The Happening.
Sorry, I just can't do it. I watched it one time and was just like, I just literally can't watch that one again.
I
Um,
say that Old is my Roman Empire, but like I it was very much precursored by The Happening, which I still that is also one of those movies where I look at the plot on paper and it's like I feel like I should be really into this, and then I watch the movie and it's like, why did he make this decision or this decision?
I'm
Or like
telling you, this
what
is
was the
why.
casting here? Or like
Yeah, that's I just can't do the happening. I thought about it. I almost did it, and then I was just like, I just can't. And I've never seen the other two, and I have no
if
desire to see the other two.
if I
So
did a Shyamalan podcast, it would run 3 episodes and I would talk about Old, The Happening, and Devil and nothing else. It would be
he
just
didn't even
those
direct
three.
Devil. That's so
I
funny.
I don't care. I would talk about it. It comes
That's
up
too
in the
funny.
canon.
That's too funny. Yeah, no, I'm good. But that's too funny that you would talk about those.
Yeah, those would be my.
Too funny. All right. Well, that's all I have on this one. So unless you have something else specific
No,
that you want to
I
mention,
I
we can
will
go ahead.
warn you, because I did endorse this movie, but be warned also that like you see it once and it's just like in your brain forever. Um, I did rewatch it in preparation for this podcast, but I don't think there's another movie, especially one that I've disliked as much as I dislike Old, where I've seen it one time and remembered it so well. Like, I don't think I needed to rewatch it for this.
That's funny.
Um, Because I was watching and it's like, yeah, I remember all of this perfectly. It's like ingrained on my brain until I die.
Oh man, that
So
is
be
too funny.
warned. But like,
Yes.
give it a go.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, yeah, be warned with what we said. But again, it's not a boring movie, and
No.
it's not entertaining either. That's the thing. It's just like there is interesting and maybe not fun stuff, but there's interesting things that are going on in this movie that I appreciated. And that even on this second watch, I was like, okay, that's it's an interesting idea. I like that, and so I think that, if they had had maybe more time or something, maybe that's where the pandemic issues happened, because, they could only do so much within so much time and stuff like that. So maybe they could only get so many shots and so many ideas going and stuff. Who knows? I don't know. I
Who
don't know how
knows?
flexible he is with stuff he writes and stuff. So how collaborative he is. Um so yeah, who knows? But yeah, definitely go check it out. That being said, why don't you let people know what you where you are at on the internet these
Uh,
days?
you can find me on Instagram and Blue Sky at Cat Voleur, CatVoleur. You can check out my website, catvoleur.com. I've got books for sale. Um, and I'm not doing any more conventions this year because of time travel. So that's
Yes.
it.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on again, even if it is for a movie you hate, but think
That
about
I
all the
love to
time.
hate. That I
Yes.
affectionately love to hate.
That's too funny. Um, we it's a shame that Shyamalan and Nicolas Cage haven't done a movie together. You
Oh, that would
think,
be great. That would be
right?
ultimate crossover.
Exactly. That would have been funny. But yeah, no. All right. Yeah, definitely go give her a follow. Check out her writing. I love her stuff, even though I'm wildly behind on it all now. Um, but definitely go check out her. She's got interesting horror stories to read. So and check out I did an interview with Kat earlier. If you haven't checked that out, you can go check out that episode. I will try to remember to link that in the show notes. But if not, go search them back. It's a good episode with just her and I talking about her books. So well, until next time, we'll see you hopefully sometime soon in the future. I'll have to get you to come back on for something else soon.
Always a
I
pleasure to be on.
Yeah, I always love having you on. It's a lot of fun, even when we don't agree or talk about some movie you hate and or that you love that I don't like or whatever. So which we've done actually a few times. It's usually a movie that I'm just like, and you're like, I love that movie.
I do.
Um,
I try to only come on with movies that I know that I feel really
you have a
passionately
strong
about one
opinion,
way or the
yeah.
other.
Well, that's good. Yeah, that's perfect. All right. Well, we shall see you soon. And until then, stay creepy. Thanks for listening. Creepy and Geeky is produced and hosted by Robert Clark. If you like what you've heard, please consider giving the show 5 stars and a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And share the podcast on social media to help spread the word. Make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app or at creepyandgeeky.com. You can follow the podcast by going to creepyandgeeky.com and clicking on any of the social links. If you'd like to follow me, you can find my links at geekthulu.com. You can support the podcast by ordering teas and more on TeePublic or by donating to the coffee page. All of the links are in the show notes. Finally, don't forget, stay creepy.